Outrage today from both Virginia educators and Democrats over what they are calling politically motivated changes to elementary school curriculum proposed this week by Governor Glenn Youngkin's new school board. Just one of their proposals, according to reporting in the Washington Post, included removing Martin Luther King Jr. from holidays that kindergarten students should learn about. After lots of criticism, it appears they have added that back in. But here's one outrageous move they are yet to reverse from the Washington Post. Quote, the new guidelines delete a suggestion from the previous version that kindergartners be taught respect for diversity by learning how to work collaboratively with people of diverse backgrounds, viewpoints, and experiences. Joining our conversation is Heidi Price-Bella, an investigative correspondent with Politico these days. We miss her from when she was here. She's reported extensively on how state legislatures have been trying to change what can be taught about race and history in schools. Donna and Elise here are still here as well. Heidi, take me inside what's happening, not just in Virginia, but where conservatives are trying to reach into curriculum.
Yeah, Nicole, this is happening in a number of red states, but it really did start here in Virginia when Glenn Youngkin was elected on the notion that critical race theory was being taught in schools. It is seen by many in the conservative movement, particularly as the enthusiasm wanes on the abortion issue as the next battlefront in the culture wars. But there's just one problem. They could never define it. I did many, many interviews with Virginia voters who couldn't explain to me exactly what critical race theory is. What this looks like is an attempt, Nicole, at using something that could be a template, again, in other states as well, to make good on that promise of banning something that, again, I didn't find any evidence that exists. It is notable for many reasons. Look, I think it's a living document. It's going to get a lot of pushback. There's going to be changes to it. But it's really striking at how it erases the role of indigenous people, erasing, I guess they reversed this now, but MLK Day, there was Juneteenth, changing Indigenous Peoples Day back to Columbus Day. It appears to have a very Eurocentric focus. I saw at one point, I don't know, it was 5th or 6th grade, eliminating learning about continents other than Europe. Again, very Eurocentric. And then just the issue of not talking about racism. I don't know how you teach about our history of slavery, Jim Crow, and segregation without mentioning the word racism. And my concern as a reporter, but also a parent in this state is what are going to be the penalties? What are the repercussions going to be for teachers in this state and in other states where this is happening? Because we had a hotline at one point set up here that was specifically put in place. This was right after the campaign to rat on teachers that parents felt were violating critical race theory non-teaching rules. Nicole?
Heidi, just finish the sentence for me. The goal of not teaching students all the continents is what?
Look, I'm just reading this myself.
I know.
And I don't know. I don't want to make a sweeping statement that they wouldn't learn about the other continents, but they would just have like a Eurocentric. That was what I took away from reading the article. Okay. I'm not the original reporter on it, but it seemed that there was much more of an emphasis on European culture than some of the other continents, which does fit into this broader narrative of what's happening here, is to kind of take away some of that diversity that is not, I don't know, European centric or anything when it comes to racism that doesn't frankly make America and American history look virtuous. Not teaching about colonialism, not using words like imperialism, nationalism, and racism appears to be the goal here. And what we've seen in the past, Nicole, again, is that these things wind up being used as models in the original state. And Virginia really is the original state when it comes to ground zero and campaigning on this issue of critical race theory.
Donna, I remember from Heidi's reporting and many others that it was proven that there was no critical race theory being taught in elementary schools in Virginia. So this is about something else. And I wonder what your theory is on what that something else is.
Well, I think that there has been, an aggressive pushback against a nation that is increasingly diverse. I mean, you look at a state like Virginia, particularly in Northern Virginia, where you have schools where there are, a couple of hundred languages that are spoken in homes in these school systems. And you see Republicans in particular running more candidates for school board positions across the country so that they can begin to redirect the curriculum. And I think it is a direct pushback against the changing face of the nation, which is increasingly diverse, more Black, more brown, more inclusive. And you have a set of people who want to go back to the good old days where, my families were not incorporated into the history that was taught in our school systems. And I think it is a wake-up call because this starts at the lower level in the individual school boards and school systems, and then it moves to the state, and the next thing you know, it's a move across the country.
Alicia, I just interviewed Whoopi Goldberg about Till, about her new movie about Emmett Till, and she's been trying to have that movie made since I've known her for almost 9-10 years. And I said, why? And she said that even then, she thought there was such an effort to erase our history, that if you didn't put it out there in other ways, in culture, in art, in film, in books, it could be lost.
Absolutely. I mean, it strikes me, I want to underline some things that you and others have said, which is this question of critical race theory. When this first happened in 2021, the Virginia Department of Education, they said critical race theory is not part of the Commonwealth's K through 12. So they are trying to solve for a problem that does not exist. And in doing so, they are creating a new problem. You then had the Virginia Education Association, that's the union that represents 40,000 educators in the state of Virginia, saying, we're really worried about this. We're worried about it for all of the reasons that Heidi laid out, which is our job is accuracy. Our job is making sure that our students have an understanding of our history so that they
as it actually happened,
so that they are not want to repeat it. And so the position this is putting educators in, is really, I think still there are a lot of question marks around where it goes from here, because it is making it harder for them to do their job. And to your point, it is making it harder for our kids to have a full understanding education that they need and deserve.
It's an amazing thing. And to see Glenn Youngkin, who wrote this, which is in complete contradiction with what the Virginia educators say is happening there. It's amazing to see him try to grab it back as DeSantis is ascendant.
Well, because this is the thing that you and I keep talking about, which is it's very easy to say that Trump and Trumpism is over simply because they have finally caught on to the fact that he may not be the winner he's suggesting that it is. But it is very much alive in folks like Youngkin and DeSantis being ascendant within the party. And it's in every form. It's in the Don't Say Gay bill in Florida. It's in the fact that you got DeSantis putting migrants on planes. It's in the fact that he's messing with elections by having a police force that's only succeeded in catching voters in the act of voting.
Competent Trumpism.